Today we're going to be talking about how to look at a graph and write the equation in slope-intercept form. So for slope-intercept form, the equation is y equals mx plus b, which is similar to what we have been doing for quite a few weeks now. The first step is to identify the slope or the m on the graph. And we're going to do that by using 2 points and counting the change in y or the change in x. And remember, that is done by doing the rise over the run. You're always going to want to move from the left to the right whenever we're looking for the slope. Next, we'll identify the y-intercept or the b value on the graph. And that's just wherever the graph is going to touch the y-axis. Then we'll substitute our m and our b values into our formula, okay? If the graph is shaded, that means it needs to have an inequality sign instead of an equal sign, okay? If it has shading, it needs to have an inequality sign. And so this is just a reminder of what we learned before. If you have a greater than or equal to or a less than or equal to, that's a solid line. If you have a greater than or a less than, those are going to be dashed lines, okay? Greater than or equal to and greater than are shaded above the graph, and less than or equal to and less than are shaded below the graph, okay? So I made my students in class this little kind of organizer. I think that it kind of helped them. So if you look above and below, those are the two types of ways that it can be shaded. And then we also have solid and dashed. Sometimes you see it say dotted, but that's the same as dashed. Okay, so solid above is greater than or equal to. Solid below, less than or equal to. Dashed above, greater than. Dashed below, less than. So maybe this will kind of help you understand a little better if you're still struggling. Let's look at these examples. Okay, so here I'm going to try to find two perfect points. Found them there pretty easily. They can be any points on the graph. You do not have to pick the same points that I do. As long as you simplify your slope, you will get the same slope or the same m value that I'm getting here. So here I need to go up 2 to the right 1. So that would give me the slope 2 over 1, which simplifies to 2. My b value is going to be where my graph touches the y-axis, which is right here at 1. So the equation would be y equals 2x plus 1. Okay. Over here, two perfect points. Let's say I pick this one and this one. Okay, that would be down 2 and to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 2 over 6, I need to put that in my calculator and simplify it. If you're doing virtual learning, I advise you to use Desmos. If you're in class, you can use your TI Nspire. That is going to simplify to 1/3. So our slope is going to be 1/3. If we look to see where this graph crosses the y-axis, we see that happens here at -2. Okay, and then if I'm looking, this is actually going to be -2 over 6 because I'm going down 2, and that would cause this to simplify to -1/3, right? So when I fill in my equation, I have -1/3 x minus 2. Okay, I'm going to put -2 instead of plus -2 because that's a little bit more simplified. Okay, here for my m value, I'm going to have to find two perfect points again. Let's say I pick these two. Again, you can pick any points, it doesn't matter, just whichever two pop out at you. Okay, this is going to be up to right 4. Okay, again, we always need to simplify our slopes. That is going to simplify to 1/2, and then our b value is going to be here at +3. Now I have an inequality, right? This is going to have an inequality symbol because it's shaded. This is shaded below, okay? All of the area that's below my b value is shaded, so I know it's going to be a less than sign. Now I have to look at the actual line to determine if it's going to be just less than or less than or equal to. Now, since this is a solid line, I know that I'm going to end up with that equal to sign also. So my inequality will be y is less than or equal to 1/2 x plus 3. Okay, here I'm going to find my two perfect points. It looks like I have one here. Looks like I have one here. Okay, so I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to go over 3. So down 9 would be negative 9 over 3. Okay, I went right 3, and that would simplify to a slope of negative 3, right? My b value is going to be negative 1. That's where my line crosses. This is shaded above. Okay, if I start here at my b value and I go up, the above part is shaded there. So this is either going to be a greater than or a greater than or equal to. Since I can see that my line here is dashed, I am not going to have that equal to sign. It's just going to be greater than. So my inequality would be y is greater than negative 3x minus 1. If I'm looking on the back of here, we're going to do the same thing, but looking at our notes in point slope form. Point slope form, we're going to do the exact same process. We are just going to use the point slope formula instead. Okay, the point slope formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, so the first step, we're still going to identify the m. Okay, we're still going to identify the slope. That's the first step always. And then we're going to identify one point. Okay, we're not going to be able to see the b value on any of these graphs. You look over here, we're not sure what that b value is. We're not sure what that b value is. So we just have to pick one perfect point and we can go ahead and use that point, right? We're going to substitute the values into the formula, and we're going to follow those same inequality rules that we talked about on the other side. Okay, so here for this first example, I see a perfect point here, and I see one here. Okay, so I'm going to be going up one box over 3. So my slope is going to be 1 over 3. Remember, we're always simplifying our slopes. Okay, and then I'm going to pick one perfect point. Okay, this is a perfect point here at 2, 2. Okay, you can pick any point, it does not matter. You might not have the exact same answer as someone else, but that doesn't mean that your answer is wrong. Any point on the graph will give you the correct equation of the line. Okay, so here I will have, this is going to be my x1, this is going to be my y1. So I have y minus, and then my y1, so it's going to be 2, equals m, so 1/3 times x minus, and then my x1, which is going to be 2. So that is my equation. Again, you could have a different equation that is still the right answer as long as the point is on the line. Let's look at this next example. Okay, perfect points. I see a point here and a point here. So I need to go down 3, right 2. Negative 3 over 2. Okay, and then for my point, let's say I see a point here at 5, negative 4. Okay, remember our first point, the first number is our x1, second is our y1. Okay, so in my equation, I'm going to have y minus, my y1 is negative 4. Okay, now minus negative 4 is not incorrect, but it is not completely simplified. Anytime that we're going to end up having minus a negative, that's going to change to a plus 4. Okay, equals negative 3 over 2 times x minus, and then the x1 is 5. Okay, looking down here at our two inequalities, here we have our slope. Okay, 1, 2, 3, down 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Our slope is going to be negative 3 over 4. Okay, and then for me to pick a point, let's go ahead and pick that first one that we did, negative 3, 5. Okay, our first one is our x1, our second one is our y1. Okay, our inequality symbol, because it has shading, right? It is shaded above my b value, so it's going to be a greater than, and then I just need to look at the line to decide if it's going to be equal to or not. This is a solid line, so that's going to make my equal to line under there, right? So I'm going to end up with y minus 5 is greater than or equal to negative 3/4 times x minus, now I have this negative 3. I'm not going to put minus negative 3 because that is not completely simplified. I have to put plus 3. Okay, and that will be my inequality there. Over here, I have my 2 points already given to me, which is great. So I need to go up 2 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's not going to simplify. My slope is 2/5. And then I have this point over here, negative 1, negative 3. And I need to decide my inequality symbol. This graph is shaded below, so it's for sure going to be a less than. Then I have to look at my specific line to determine, okay, is this going to be equal to or not? And since this graph is dashed, I am not going to have the equal to sign. So I leave it with that less than. So I have y minus, and this is my y1, remember? So I would have minus negative 3. I'm not going to put the minus the negative. I'm going to change that to a plus 3 equals 2/5 times, oh, not equals, my bad. This is just going to be this less than, like that. Okay, 2/5 times x, and then it would be minus negative 1. I'm not going to have that minus a negative since it's not simplified. So I will simplify that to plus 1.